Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Cory Meets Business podcast and YouTube show. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hey, if you enjoy the content we're putting out, please like, subscribe, and share wherever you can. Obviously, the more we can get this great information out and our great guests that have this treasure trove of business advice and personal finance advice, the more we can get this to the masses and more people, the more we can help. So please feel free to share it, and your comments are always welcome. Please comment below any questions you might have. I'm always taking a look, and I'll happily answer any of them, even the ones I don't know. I'll still answer it anyway. So if I don't know, I'll find out the answer and answer it. So, all right, so welcome. Today we got a very, very great guest and a live studio audience. So the applause and the laughter you hear will be real this week, not just the fake stuff. Right, Emilio? All right, great. Well, today's guest, please welcome him to the show, everyone. His name is Matt McKinnon.
Thank you very
Welcome,
much.
Mr. McKinnon.
Yes.
That's real applause, not the fake applause. That's
Nice.
awesome. That's awesome. Matt is one of the. Matt's a heavy hitter. We're lucky to have him on the show. This guy's, it came down to him or Bezos, and I just told Bezos no.
Yeah, he's
So
played
I
out.
said I have Matt.
Yeah,
Matt's coming on the show. Bezos, sorry, buddy.
No,
Maybe
played out.
next time.
Yeah, he was out front. He
Yeah.
was very upset.
He was crying.
Yeah, he was crying.
Him and
Yeah.
LeBron. I think were out there crying, and but.
Was he late like his packages?
He was.
Hey, some are early, actually. I got burned the other day because one was early. Thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate that. It's a Christmas gift, and I was supposed to try to time it right that my wife wouldn't be home while it got delivered, but then it got delivered, and the box was kind of obvious of what it was,
wow.
It was long, and I just want to go there.
Vibrated.
Family show, start buzzing, I was like, shit, Jeff, you put the batteries in already, bro?
No judgments, you got to make money, man.
Come on, Jeff. So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, on a show. Again, getting back to Matt. Matt's a heavy hitter. He is the executive VP of a business called American. I'm already expanding your business, bro. Arizona's too small.
Sure.
Yeah.
Arizona Communication Experts, ACE is the acronym, which is pretty cool. He's been with them since 1999. He's got an amazing story. I mean, the origin story of the business is fantastic. Your story with it's fantastic. And again, that's why I really appreciate you coming on the show, because again, that type of story where you're coming from, and the whole American dream. That's really what I want the show to push is, the idea of the American dream is alive and well, and it just comes down to what you're willing to do and how hard you're willing to work. So tell us, Matt, a little bit more about you, where you came from, and how you ended up becoming where you're at now.
Sure. Well, I grew up in the metropolis of Benson, Arizona. About
Huge.
About 45 minutes down the road. I'm just getting used to shoes. So, but moved to Tucson and went to college for about a minute. I got in the bar business with a group of guys, working in bars very young, and that same group had a background in telecom, opened Arizona.
Interesting combination.
Well, yeah. Opened Arizona Communication Experts, 1999. There was 4 of us, and we were working out of Dan Kimbler, the owner's garage, hustling jobs, pulling cable, copper, fiber optics, looking for big opportunities. We hit a home run real early that was a little disheartening. We got a job at the Sky Harbor Airport, pulling a big fiber optic loop at the Sky Harbor Airport. And it was like the scene in War Dogs when he says, well, with your bid coming in $50 million under the last competing offer, how could we say no? That's exactly the same sort of thing. I'm sure that's how we won it. It was just so low they couldn't say no.
On price, yeah.
But we went out there. I mean, there was literally 4 of us grinding it out in manholes, pulling a fiber optic loop underneath runways.
Wow.
It was a very interesting start. And the company grew from there. Went from 4 guys in a garage to actually getting a little warehouse and an office, and kind of, again, still grinding it out, going to Shirley's Plan Service and looking through plans that are put in there for projects that are up and coming when they're looking for contractors. It wasn't until about 2011 that we hit a huge contract, one that kind of put us on the map. It was TUSD, Tucson Unified School Districts, did a modernization of fiber optic cable at every one of their schools, which is close to 100 schools in Tucson. It was a 16-month project to the tune of $13 million. And it was definitely a home run. I mean, it put us on the map as one of the best, if not the best, network infrastructure installation companies in the state. At that time, I had taken a departure, and I was working back in the bar restaurant business. The company had exploded, so I came back, and Dan had some decisions to make. You know, with this home run, does he retire? Does he expand in some other services and get some guys smart to do some different type of work? Expand, what do we do? So I came back aboard, and we figured it out. We still had our core group of project managers. There's 4 of us that have been together, if you count the bar business, 25 years. Dan Kimbler, sole owner, president of our company, first guy to work in the morning, last guy to leave. He's never going to retire. He'll come in and drink coffee with the techs.
Nice, man after my own heart.
Got a horse property in northwest Tucson, and when he's not screwing around on his little ranch, he's, in the office doing what he does. Steve Carringer is our director of operations. Again, we've been together 25 years. And Wyatt Kimbler, Dan's brother, is one of our senior project managers. And that group kind of took the company from, all right, let's go bid on little projects here. Let's get our name over here. That looks like a construction site. Let's go knock on the trailer door and see if somebody has already given them a number for the low voltage.
There you go. And that's one of the things that obviously I wanted to pick your brain about and wanted to, pull out from you on the show here, because that's, again, a lot of the struggle in entrepreneurialism and running a business is the marketing end, right?
Sure.
And we talked about in the pre-show that, marketing is different for the type of business model you have. Right. You couldn't, again, take a consumer-based business, service-based business. Your wife does the lashing. Mine is going to be doing a med spa here shortly, and interchange that business model. Your business model is completely different, right? Commercial construction has a different business model and a different marketing technique than, again, a lasher or a med spa or a restaurant or the bar business. Back in the day when you guys were doing the bar stuff, that was a completely different, type of a marketing model.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure when you guys were in those manholes at Sky Harbor Airport, right, you guys probably said to yourselves, we got to make sure that, this isn't a one and done.
Right.
That we figure out how we can continue to go out and get these kind of jobs and hopefully not be underbid them $50 million, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. I think that Sky Harbor job was about $1 million job, and for us starting out, that was all the money in the world. I mean, that was
huge.
That was absolutely huge.
Sounds low.
So probably by about $4 million.
I'm just thinking Sky Harbor, like the 5th biggest airport in America, and then TUSD coming in with 13. I was like,
$1 million. They pay that for for the napkins for the facility, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, there's a lot of things that go through your head when you're in a manhole in the middle of the summer in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, we would like more jobs.
How long did it take you? How long was the scope of the job?
That job, it was about a year. It was just short of a year.
So you got all that summer. You got all that.
It was 23,000 feet, linear feet.
Wow.
And it was a redundant loop that went from their point of presence, which was in a FedEx building that you could actually see if you're on the highway and you're looking off to Sky Harbor when you first see Sky Harbor. There's a FedEx building right there. So we went from there all the way around past all the terminals to what's called the Tracon building, which runs all the avionics for the tower.
Oh, wow.
So it was, as the crow flies, it was probably a mile going through a conduit system through
twists and turns of all
twists
that.
And turns, yeah, right. So, going through your head is, how do we keep doing this? How do I get out of the manhole? Is one of the thoughts.
Another
here,
question. The second question: how do we keep doing it? And then secondly, how do we get out of the manhole?
I not have to do it. As
when I say we, I don't mean me.
yeah,
right?
me exactly. I tell clients all the time when they say, "Okay, your guys are starting on Tuesday. Will you be here?" I said, "Well, no. If you want it done right, I am not going to be here. You can call me if there's an issue."
Right.
But moving from bidding work, going out and knocking on trailer doors, getting little PowerPoint presentations in front of general contractors. This is what went on for several years.
Okay, so from that job, that was 2011, you said, right?
The Sky Harbor?
Yeah.
Sky Harbor was 99.
Oh, 99. Okay, I was early on.
Beginning.
Okay, very beginning.
It was TUSD that was 2011.
Okay, that's the one that
Yeah.
really put you guys on the map.
That was the big one.
So between 99 and 2011, 12 years,
12
that
years
was
of,
the
I'd call
knocking
it-
on trailer
that
doors.
That was doing it, the hard way. Then
Right.
we became a contractor for Pima Community College, somewhere in there, and were able to do their day-to-day ads, moves, changes, upgrades. Then we started looking at different contracts. So Pima County, City of Tucson, Raytheon, University of Arizona. The big one we're on is the Arizona Cabling and Communication Systems contract. And what these are is conduits for state entities to purchase from without having to go out and put their project out to bid to the world, go through the procurement process, have
Right.
it listed on a procurement site for 28 days, take the responses, score it, and then award.
So what was the epiphany? So when you guys are going from saying we got to go from just hitting up individual contractors looking for, one-off projects to let's figure out how to do procurement, the procurement game for cities, counties, school boards, things like that. How does that idea come up? Was that something you guys came across accidentally? Was that something you sat down and figured out?
I don't remember the exact instance that it happened, but it would have been something like this. Hey, who's doing that new building? Oh, that's a state contract project. One of the jocks on the state contract is doing that. What's the state contract? How do we get on that? That's kind of how it started.
So basically just driving around town, looking at things that are being built and saying who's
down.
doing that.
Yeah,
Right.
getting turned down because we're not sitting on a contract and already been vetted. Pima County, we've been on the Pima County contract for almost 12 years now. They're 5-year increments. They renew every 5 years. And that was one of those things of, well, let's take a look at what's expanding. Town of Oro Valley, we're recently on that contract. So we kind of look at different areas around us that are growing that could be using and needing a lot of infrastructure. Okay, let's not go there and try and get the one job that's out for bid. Let's get on their contract and be one of their go-to guys.
Sure.
Right. That's kind of how that evolved.
So smarter to, instead of going and bidding jobs individually, looking for work individually, get involved with some of the larger municipalities, projects, schools in your town, your town or your city, and then get on the approved vendor list,
Correct.
right? So that when they need something, there's already an approved vendor list somebody goes to, there's your name, you guys are going to be one of the first ones
Absolutely.
in. Especially if you got a good track record going.
And that's
then,
key,
right?
Because those, you're scored. There's a rating.
Oh, is there a
When
rating
somebody's
system? Wow.
looking on there going, hey, should we get Arizona Communications to come do our new building? Well, they did Mesa's building and it didn't work out well. All those people talk.
Sure.
Especially in the school districts is a huge piece of our business. And all the IT directors for every school district in the state, they talk. And we've been very fortunate to have a great group of techs that care about their work. I mean, it's actually a craft. It's not slam some cable up in the ceiling and close the ceiling lid and walk away. I mean, they care that cable looks neat, that their comm rooms look neat. And some of our customers, Pima Community College even says, we know when we walk in a comm room that Ace did, we can spot it before even looking to see if it's labeled. You know it's you.
So obviously going back to, what not only gets you, so getting the big contract with Sky Harbor and then the second one with TUSD, that may get you opportunities. But what you're saying is if your work doesn't back that up,
right.
meaning that you don't bring top tier quality work, craftsmanship, I mean, whatever you're doing, make a significant impression with your customer, that could be a real short-lived existence.
Absolutely.
Right? You could go from you thought you won the lottery till you found out that you were missing the Powerball number.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No. That's our project.
So for young entrepreneurs, the advice would be, hey, make sure that you become a master at your craft.
Make
right?
sure your product is the best that your product can possibly be, because at the end of the day, they forget about the interview process that you had to get the job, and hey, you were likable because both your kids play Pop Warner football and you're both hunters, and you did all that stuff goes out the window when the job is done and the product is garbage. Okay,
right.
That's what they remember. They were a terrible company. Well, wait a minute, I thought I had a great relationship with you. Well, you did until we screwed up.
Well, plus too, and you hit the nail on the head. Your network and connections and network marketing that you'll do, especially on a smaller level, like Tucson, Arizona, which is a pretty small place overall, generally speaking. Like I said, everybody knows everybody.
Sure.
You could use your contacts and your influence in that space to get the job or to get the opportunity. But if you screw that up,
right,
then it doesn't matter the personal relationship. Right.
Exactly.
Your personal relationships with people and your rapport with people, business contacts, things like that. And again, even on a micro level with employees, right? And I know you run nearly 50 employees yourself. You screw up the job, you now no longer get bigger and better opportunities.
Right.
Right. And I'm sure even in your own staff and in mine, you look around and you say, look, this is the type of person that I can count on. Give them the better opportunity. This type of person, not so much.
Sure.
They don't get the opportunities. I mean, is that
you're absolutely
how it
right.
works?
And I've told in manager meetings, okay, anybody that says in business that you shouldn't play favorites is not going to be in business very long.
Right.
I play favorites every day.
Right.
I give my favorite project managers the big projects because I know they can handle it. I don't care if it's their turn to get the project or not, okay?
Right.
And the other thing that drives me absolutely up the wall is you hear that buzzword of, don't micromanage your employees. No, don't micromanage them if you want things to fall apart.
Right.
Absolutely, don't micromanage them at all.
Right.
I tell our managers, look, you need to make sure that your guys are an extension of you. When we bid something, and this is a common issue, when we bid something, I can't have my estimators and my project managers bidding it like they are doing the work. They're experienced, they've been in this business 15, 20 years.
Right.
They can knock out cabling a room, splicing fiber, dressing a splice case, working on an aerial pole. Yeah, they can do it twice as fast as a lower level tech. So you need to bid it as the lower level tech is doing it time-wise, and you need to be on site, on your job sites, making sure that the work's getting done satisfactory, and it looks like a product that you would turn out.
Right.
And I think that direction and getting our managers on board with that, talking to the superintendents, talking to the foremen, talking to our lower level techs, has kind of brought everybody almost like a family of, if I just slam this up there, not only is it going to look bad for me, it's going to look bad for my supervisor, and then it's going to look bad for the project manager, and then it's going to look bad for the company. And it seems the majority of the people in our company, if not all of them at this moment, and there's been good moments and bad moments with staff, as you know.
Sure.
But right now, everybody kind of buys into the vision.
Right.
Everybody kind of feels.
Which, how important is that? So, I mean, I think there's a teaching moment there for a lot of young entrepreneurs and people with smaller companies. How important is it to have your entire team buy into the vision?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you think of it in terms, so for entrepreneurs out there that have a product, whether that product is a hamburger or it's cable, whatever the product is,
Right.
you know, the employee that feels that he works with you, even though you're the boss, he feels he works with you for the common goal, is going to take care of you in the aspect of the employee that thinks they work for you, and somebody is seen stealing a reel of number 2 grounding cable, which is probably about $3 a pound right now at the scrap metal yard,
Right.
off the dock. The people that work with you are like, hey, by the way, so-and-so just lifted a reel of cable off of there to go sell. The people that feel that they work for you and that you are abusive and not, you know, you're the boss and it's the way it is and I do it because I said so, they probably aren't going to say anything that reel of cable just got lifted off of the dock
Right.
and moved its way on down the road. So, you know, anybody that has a product, the more that you can get your staff to buy into the fact that, hey, if we sell more hamburgers because the meat's not getting stolen, we're going to make more money. I can give you a raise, and everybody is happy all the way up. If you can get them to buy into that, I mean, it's a home run.
So how do you, and I agree 100%. So how has your organization gone about creating that culture within your business?
That culture. Yeah, you know, everything from as simple as we get letters a lot from end users after an install, and they say, hey, we worked with Benjamin, or we worked with Louis or Horatio, some of our top techs. They were fantastic. Thank you very much. Sharing those letters with them, reading those letters at manager meetings, reading those letters at employee meetings, making them feel that they didn't just complete that job and it didn't mean anything and then they move on to the next job, that there was actually an end user involved here that appreciates the work they did,
Right.
appreciates them coming in maybe on a Saturday to get something lit up because that was the only time they can do it. Sharing that with the group goes a long way.
So
We'll
making
give
that
incentives.
connection, and again, you absolutely, what's uncanny to me when I have guests on, when they literally quote things out of my book as far as, you know, concepts and ideas, and that's one of the biggest concepts in my book, Maximize Your Now, which is, I don't care where you're at on the totem pole, you work in the drive-thru at McDonald's, understand the direct relationship and the connection to the customer. And understand that, yes, you might just be going through the motions in your position, or you might just thinking what you're doing is routine and a little mundane, but it isn't for the customer.
Right.
The customer has a huge direct impact, and when you can really make yourself aware of that the customer is getting a big impact on what you're directly doing. You're directly affecting the life of another human being, and I don't care if you are working the drive-thru at McDonald's, that's significant.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, someone's coming in for lunch, they've had a hard day, they're saying, hey, look, you know, I'm going to take a lunch, regroup, you know, collect my thoughts, you know, enjoy some delicious food. And then the person that's delivering the food or, you know, serving the food just thinks that they're just, I'm at a crap job, doing a crap thing, you know, and they're all taking it all crappy. Well, now you're making that experience for that customer, you know, crappier, right?
Yeah.
When you could be enhancing it and making it better. And like you said, I think keeping that in focus, no matter what you're doing, you know, within the company, whether you're the CEO or again the guy that's sweeping the shop floor, making that mental connection to the customer and understanding how vital, how important your role is. That your role, like you said, like even your junior techs, that role is vital because some of the things they're doing for the customer is going to be something the customer is going to experience for years to come. Right. For what you guys do, it's not just as simple as a lunch. You know, it's something that, you know, years from now, they'll still be using those communications. And so yeah, relaying that, I think, to your personnel and making them feel that direct connection with those letters is brilliant.
Yeah, you know, it was an easier process when I was in the restaurant business, to be honest with you. You know, because I could take my servers and I could say exactly what you just said. You know, somebody is usually coming to a restaurant to celebrate something, maybe mourn something, maybe just needs to get away, and to get them to buy into the fact that this is basically the entertainment business. Okay, I need you to make them feel that you woke up this morning for the pure reason to take care of them, make sure their meal was correct, and get them out the door. And one of the ways I used to kind of convey how important their job was is the national average for a restaurant business is about a 5% profit once everything is done.
Wow.
So that is a nickel for every dollar goes in the bank. So whenever you hear somebody drop a plate in the kitchen and everybody cheers and claps and goes, Mazel Tov, and this and that, you really have a restaurant owner.
I say job opening, and I'm not joking.
You're
I'm
not
like, okay,
joking.
you just
You're
ate
not
you just
joking
ate like a good chunk of the
right,
profit up.
Exactly. Huge. And so I would tell my servers, your average tip is between 15 and 20%. Your business has a higher profit margin than mine does. And I'm providing the material, I'm providing the roof, I'm providing the electricity, I'm providing your uniform, and you're making more money.
Taking the risk.
Percentage-wise, right,
Yep.
Insurance, I'm providing more, what you're doing is more profitable. And they could get their head around that. In what we do at Arizona Communications, it's a construction business.
Right.
Sometimes those guys are working in a building that doesn't have air conditioning yet. It's almost as hot as it is in here, but not quite. But construction. It's a blue collar job. It's a blue collar job. We all know that. So to keep them motivated and keep their spirits up by saying, hey, the person you're working for thinks you're doing an outstanding job, it goes a long way. It really does. Right. Especially when there's return business and a new project comes up and some of those techs are asked for by name.
Right.
That's the coup de grace.
That's got to be. If I was working as a tech in a company and some big contract happened because the person thought highly of me personally, that'd have to be a huge.
When Raytheon Missile Systems asks for Eric and Jeff, which is a father-son team that works for us, to come and do their project, that's it. You just hit it.
Yeah. Again, and that's a fantastic culture, which again is why you guys are probably having a lot of your success is breeding that culture. Now, another question. Well, we got Mucho here, which is he's kind of been a little silent today, a little quiet.
I'm just taking this in.
I'm not looking at my watch because I could listen to Matt all day long.
I'm
still in my head
mental
with all
notes
kinds
here.
of I'm taking notes over here. Like what was that now?
As a worker myself, I've been in work situations where
you've worked for giant radio conglomerates,
and I've worked for private radio stations,
right.
And I've been on both sides of the spectrum as a worker, where I'm like going in like, this is just a paycheck, I don't care. And I've been at companies where I really put in an effort because I care about the vision of that company. And as a worker, sometimes you don't stop and think, why is that? And so when you're telling me this, how you got the TUSD contract, you guys just killed it. It's a government entity, so they're just going to pass you on to more government entities. That was a jackpot. And I'm like, why is that? And you're talking about the environment of how you treat your employees. I'm like, now it clicked. Now I know why I loved working for certain companies and why I was like, I hate working for this company.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't boil down completely to money, but the atmosphere of the vision that the company's trying to create for you to buy into it. So
agreed. And you got to have a shared. If you want your company to be very successful and you're going to expand and get a bunch of employees, you have to have that shared vision, and everybody has to be, the team has to be thinking as one, where everybody's understanding their role and understanding that the entity is only going to be as strong as its weakest link, right? If you got some, on the other side of it, you got some tech out there that's not making a good impression, right?
Sure.
Not impressing the customers,
right?
Which I'm sure you've also experienced that end of it too.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with that? How do you go about dealing with the bad apple?
Depends how receptive they are to change. Okay. You can sit with somebody and talk through what the issues are, and through reading body language, through just hearing their answers, hearing their excuses, I can get a pretty good idea if, this person wants to make this right, they want to come aboard, they want to buy in, they're looking at the big picture, or there's no hope.
Right.
You know, meaning you can't fix bad. It's bad.
Right.
You know.
How do you gauge that? I mean, you know, from one employer to another, how do you go about gauging whether or not it's the employee's fixable or not?
You know, at some level, I'm an employer, I'm a manager, I'm a marriage counselor,
Right.
I'm a drug and alcohol abuse counselor. So to sit down and listen.
Sit in the office, you're like, all right, what hat do I need now?
Yeah, right.
All right.
No, seriously.
We got a drug problem. We got a
What
drug
am I
problem.
doing?
Okay, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello, I'm the drug counselor.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's what's
You got to switch personalities, right?
You do.
Almost like Sybil.
You
Okay.
do. Right. You know, you have to. What exactly? What is the problem? Okay.
Right.
XYZ happened on the job site. Unacceptable. Why did it happen? Okay. It happened because I'm having a hard time at home. I haven't been sleeping. I have a newborn baby. Okay, perfect.
Right.
What do we need to do? Do we get you more help down there? Do you need to come in a little bit later for a while to get that baby squared away? I mean, you know, I've gone through all these scenarios.
Got to be flexible, right?
You know, let's be flexible. Let's look. You know, if it's somebody that seems sincere, seems honest, seems like they have our best interest in mind, somebody that this doesn't happen all the time. This seems like kind of a one-off sort of thing.
Right.
Let's see what we can do to retain this employee, but also retain the integrity of our company on the job site they're working on, right?
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
when you sit with somebody and, you know, they walk in the office and they're irritated that they even have to come in and talk to me or one of the other managers because, of course, they're entitled, right?
Right.
We're lucky that they work for us.
Right.
Okay, that's not going to go very far because that's not the mission. Okay, that's not the mission. And I've had some very, very talented people that can do some amazing work, but when one little thing goes wrong, they go to pieces.
Right.
Right?
Just lose their mental
And
ability.
some of them, it's just time to part ways. It's just time to move on.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, there's several times that not only did I say we have to part ways, but I found him another job. I'd call one of
It's always the best way to do it,
you know,
right?
I'd call one of our competitors and say, look, I got this guy.
Hold on.
No, I've done it. This guy, he doesn't mesh with us. This is just it's not working. However, I know what you guys do. I know how you run your techs. I know it's a different atmosphere. He might work for you. Do you need anybody? Yeah, we do. We'll give them a shot. You know, maybe they make it over there. Maybe they don't. Yeah. But, you know, it keeps them from filing unemployment on me having to deal with that.
Right.
You know, any sort of, backlash.
Right.
You know, I've had employees where I've said, you're fired. You need to leave. You need to return all our property to us, and that will sway my decision whether I press charges on you or not.
Right.
Theft. Wow. You know, I've had that happen.
So it's not always smooth.
No, it's not always
transition.
smooth. You know, we've gone there, but for the most part, it's this isn't working. Okay, when I don't have a project manager in the company that wants you on their team, we're going to have to part ways.
Right.
Okay. Why don't you go look over here? Why don't you do this? Good luck to you.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
I've transitioned employees into complete other careers. I had a couple guys a few years ago that I transitioned to the mortgage business. I said, look, this is not a good fit for you. You know what would be a really good fit for you? The mortgage business. And the guy that ultimately couldn't stop failing for me went to the mortgage business. Now he kills it. He's one of the top mortgage agents in Phoenix. So, yeah, sometimes it's just the pieces just aren't fitting for whatever reason,
Stars
personality
aren't aligned in the
conflicts or
universe.
whatever.
It's just not.
Yeah,
it's just,
not always
it's
bad
just
people
not
at
there.
all. It's just that
No.
sometimes it's just your vision, their vision, not the same, or they're just what they're doing, their task. You know, the task they're doing is not up to their personality.
Yeah,
Could be a lot of different things like that.
I think
but
my
I've seen
managers have done a very good job hiring, which starting hiring a quality employee that seems like they're going to buy into the mission and the company as a whole does better instead of shotgun hiring because you just got a big project and you'll take anybody that walks through the door.
Right.
And we've done it. We've had to do it. I mean,
Yeah, you guys didn't roll out of bed and you became what you are now. That was a road to that.
When that happens, I can say, okay, we just brought in 6 new bodies. 4 of them will be gone in 2 months, but I can use them for 2 months.
Right.
I mean, I've done it.
Can carry some cable from the truck
Yeah,
to
right.
the manhole, right?
Yeah,
Get a
yeah.
few loads out of him.
Absolutely.
So when does a company become too big where it's hard to control that vision or keep the employees to be in that vision? And I'm saying that because, again, I've worked for the big corporations that make billions of dollars, like in iHeart. But it's hard for me to have the vision of the original design because it's such a huge company that it becomes like a paycheck job as an employee. And I'm seeing that you guys basically took over Arizona. As it gets bigger, how do you keep that vision in your employees?
We're real big at promoting from within. So right now, our senior project manager, Wyatt Kimbler, our other project managers, 2 new ones, Josh and Rudy, who are killing it. Chris Senzi is our RCDD, which is registered communication distribution designer. That's basically like he can stamp plans. That's the highest level of designer in our business. These guys, Steve, his projects he works on, Memo Moreno, who's our outdoor plant and aerial manager. Okay, these guys, they've all started at a lower level as techs. So as they come up, when Memo went from being able to basically pour concrete and build a house for you with a Swiss Army knife and a Q-tip,
right?
Okay, grew up through us and is able to use a directional boring rig, able to lay miles of conduit and this and that. Okay, then we created an outdoor plant division around Memo.
Nice.
We didn't hire somebody with the intention of creating an outdoor plant division. No, we had the opportunity, we have a rock star employee, let's create a division that he can manage.
Awesome.
Right? Bingo. Yeah. Right back to the point we made a few minutes ago, which is, and again, this is right in my book as well. If you're an employee, and again, you're looking from the employee standpoint, if you're an employee and you're a rock star employee like he was, right? Yep. Showing up, doing the work, working on his skill set, trying to grow in every way he can, personally, professionally, so that he has more to offer you.
Right.
And then, bam, as soon as you guys decide, hey, we're going to go in this other direction and open up this other division, you look around and you say, is anybody here capable and we can trust to build this other division around, right?
Right.
And now all of a sudden he gets more movement, he gets vertical movement where his opportunities increase.
Yep.
Because you decide we're going to do this because we do have somebody internally. And I can tell you, as business owners, me personally as well, watching the growth of one of your people internally go from, one of the lower end jobs to where now you're literally creating new divisions to then take this, like you say, superstar employee or rock star employee, and then be able to plug them into this entirely new project, and then to watch their personal growth. Not only are you benefiting, obviously, but his life, I'm sure, is completely different. And his, what he can do for his family is completely different. The way he moves in the world is probably completely different,
Absolutely.
Right? All those things, and again, as an employer myself for over 20 years, to watch somebody like that comes up through your organization, starting at the bottom, and then next thing you know, they're at the top.
Yeah.
That's probably, to me, and I think to a lot of employers out there, and I clearly tell in you too, that's got to be like one of the biggest joys of running your business and having your business is seeing those stories.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been not only with him, with several of our employees, same sort of thing. So we have only grown as fast as quality employees I have to lead those divisions.
Gotcha.
Okay. I would be terrified
Yeah.
if I brought somebody in new
Yeah.
and said, we're going to do whatever. We're going to polish telescopes at Kitt Peak. We'll bring in him. He says he's an expert in it. Let's give it a whirl. Right? I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
But if I watch a guy start wiring TVs, then putting together sound systems, then doing full automation systems in boardrooms, and then getting a couple guys under him to help him do that type of work, and say, you know what, let's create an AV division. Why not?
Right.
They know what they're doing.
Right.
Let's give it a whirl.
Because you already know the success rate's going to be 100% because you already have the person in-house that you know you can trust and will get the job done. So it becomes a zero-fail opportunity. So as a business owner and is looking to expand, which all business owners are always looking to expand, that is a no-lose situation. And the trouble is, a lot of times the challenge with business is, how many, you wish all your employees could be like that. They're not,
right?
And that's probably the bottleneck that occurs a lot of times is that desire to have employees coming up from the ranks to where you could then grow them into the expansion of the business, parallel revenue streams, new divisions, other things like that can come together. When you can get that, that really, it changes. It can change the entire dynamic. Probably a lot of the success you guys had goes back to the 4 guys in the manholes, at Sky Harbor, saying the 4 of us, as long as we stick together, can make some pretty big things happen, right?
Yeah. No,
if you had to go if it was just you and you had to go get 3 guys like the other 3 guys you end up teaming up with, that probably would have been a tall order, right?
That would be a tall order, and those 3 guys would have been long gone years ago. You know what I mean? It's that's kind of the gem of our company, and it feels a little like a family business. We right now with COVID, Zoom calls all over the place.
Right.
We were very fortunate during COVID. We weren't shut down. We became an essential worker because we were attached to the communication industry.
Right.
We'd done some work throughout the years with carriers, Comcast, Cox, CenturyLink, Verizon, AT&T. We'd crossed paths with them through the years, but all of a sudden, when the majority of Arizona and all over the country, whenever those internet service providers sell you service, they're selling you, you've got this download speed and this download speed, and we'll give you, 500 meg download speed and this and that. Yeah, but what they didn't do, which bit them, was the upload. When you look at your service and it says 100 megabyte download, 5 upload.
Or 2 sometimes,
because,
right?
Right, because what are they thinking? They're like, well, how much stuff are they going to be uploading into the internet? Right? Maybe your family photos to Shutterfly or Google Photos or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe some video to whatever. But now what we have happening is Zoom meetings and video conferencing going on from residential homes all over the United States.
Right.
Those service providers are bottlenecked.
Right.
Okay? They need to expand their bandwidth in their data centers. So we had dabbled with some of this before, but during COVID, this became a huge need for them. One of our employees, Mike Leonard, he has been in this industry for 35 years or so. He's forgotten more about bandwidth than I'll ever know. Mike, he is our liaison with Pima County and the city of Tucson, but also these service providers. Cox is one of our big ones that we mine out old fiber optic cable out of their data centers, and we bring in new, modern cable that handles more bandwidth. They're able to upload more data. And Mike, again, when Mike came aboard with us, we didn't really have a division that just took care of the internet service providers. It wasn't, could we have done it? Yeah. Would I have had to gone and get somebody? Sure.
Right.
And then what do we have to do? Then we have to market to these people saying, hey, we're available, we can work in here, we have the security clearance, this, that, and the other.
Right.
When the need came, I had a rock star that was able to jump in and say, he worked for Time Warner for years, and they're architecting their fiber optic plants around Tucson,
right.
Which later became Level 1, and then it became First Digital. So First Digital, you can get most areas, Comcast, Cox, CenturyLink, or First Digital Internet in Tucson. Well, he was one of the originals with First Digital when it migrated from Time Warner and Level 1, or maybe it was Level 3, I don't remember. But anyway, when we scored him, that was one of those thoughts of, if this ever happens where we need to get into those data centers and those large storage farms, server farms that Amazon uses, Apple uses, and all the service providers, I got a guy.
So it was, and this is a good teaching moment for business owners too, that you went and got a multi-purpose guy that would fit what you were currently doing, but had other skill sets in other facets of your industry.
Absolutely.
That you could, if you were able to get some contracts or able to get some opportunities in those areas, you'd have the guy ready to go right
we
away.
almost bought employee futures in the internet service business. You know what
that's
I mean?
genius.
And we were able to park him for a second until it came, not knowing what the state of the world was going to be and what was going to happen. But again, it worked out very well.
Yeah, and again, business owners, pay attention to that, because that's a big thing to learn for your business. Is before you expand the business and before you look to go into other facets of your industries or parallel revenue streams, go get your personnel first that can be a multifaceted person that can do not only what you're currently doing, so obviously just not sitting around waiting for the maybe project, but then has that skill set and that in their tool bag, that if you are able to move into that area, that they're ready to go. That's a very, very smart way, again, to get that safe growth. One of the things that I teach business owners is, look, you always have to be growing your business. If you just decide one day, hey, we're good where we're at, we're just going to stay right here, okay? That very second, you're already going back down the hill because of just attrition. Sure. You have attrition of customers and clients. You have attrition of personnel. So the second you sit there and say, we're just going to be good right here, you're already going back down the hill. So, but at the same time, you don't want to be foolish with your growth, right? You just want to just throw it out there and just hope for the best, because you're going to get crushed most times.
Right.
So part of an intelligent growth strategy for a business is to say, look, let's make sure that as we add pieces to the business, when it comes to personnel, equipment, facilities, that they're multi-purpose, that they suit a purpose now that we need help in, but they also have the flexibility to be able to go out and do other things, right? Kind of almost that, the reason why you'd want to go with a front end loader backhoe, right? And not just a front end loader, or not just a backhoe, right?
Maybe you need a backhoe someday.
right, exactly, right?
Yeah.
That dump trailer instead of the dump truck, right?
Right.
Make sure that you're able to have some flexibility with it. Obviously, we could go on for hours with what you guys are doing. It's amazing. We unfortunately got to keep the show to kind of about an hour. Otherwise, people will check out on us. Right. But Matt's certainly one of the guests we'd love to have back, because, man, talk about a treasure trove. And the fact, too, and I kind of want to end on this, one of the biggest things that I got out of our conversation here today, and I hope the audience did too, is that you mentioned it early on, and we kind of just skipped over it, but it stuck with me, that you only went to college for a minute, you said, which I'm not sure how long a minute is, but
year.
Okay, that's about a minute.
Yeah.
So you've done all you've been able to do with no college degree.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy's extremely articulate, very intelligent, has become a master tactician, but this is obviously self-taught, right?
Right.
You've learned through the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
So for people out there without a degree, never think that you're limited in what you can do. You absolutely are not. But where you get your education isn't as important as what education you get. Okay, and Matt clearly has gotten a very, very valuable education in what he's done in the business over the last 20-some years, and obviously the experience of the bar business. Yeah. And in the experience, and I'm sure, and you pulled from it, when we were speaking, some of the things that you learned in the bar business and the restaurant business has transitioned into some of the things and some of the strategies you do in the communications business, which a bar business has nothing to do with the communications business, but there's relatable aspects, probably especially when it comes to the structure of a lot of moving pieces going on all at the same time.
Absolutely. Real quick, when I got hired for a big nightclub company in Ohio, And I found out right as I was leaving that they had a restaurant. I was used to bars. I hadn't messed around with a restaurant. I didn't know food.
Right.
In the airport, in the gift shop, there was a book called Starting Your Own Restaurant. I bought the book. I still have it on my bookshelf.
Wow.
I read that book on the way to Ohio, on the plane. I read it every night, probably read it cover to cover several times. And the only thing I was looking for, I wasn't obviously looking, I'm going to read this book and it's going to tell me all the ins and outs of the restaurant business. Honestly, the only thing I was looking for was the lingo. So when I had a chef or I had somebody say something to me, I knew what the hell they were talking about.
Right.
You know, because there's a lot of kitchenese that goes on in a restaurant, you know what I mean? So I kind of had to learn what they were talking about. Well, when I came back from the restaurant back to Arizona Communications, and had a long sit down with Dan, and I was at the time I had started my own business. I was building sales departments. I was consulting with a couple technology companies up in Phoenix, and the idea at Arizona Communications was let's build a sales department. It was the same thing. I didn't have a college degree learning marketing. I didn't have a college degree learning sales. I read. I got books. I read the books. I was able to translate that to a real application, and specifically for the construction industry, because now there was a whole new group of terms that I needed to learn I could know what the hell they were talking about. Right. You know what I mean?
So you get that working knowledge
yeah.
so that you could then understand the conversation that was going on in the environment, which is huge, right?
Right. So, my advice to a business owner would be, or an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is be a sponge. Just take every piece of information that comes your way, read a lot, and store it. Because someday, you might be able to apply it.
Right.
You know,
to be ready for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't not be ready. I mean, in going back, obviously, and another one of the big things I hope you guys got out of this conversation with Matt was you have got to make yourself ready for opportunities that could come by. You can't wait for an opportunity and then say, oh, I'll get ready. Because the person that's going to offer the opportunity is going to have to move on. It's not going to wait for you to get ready. So you got to get ready for your opportunities. And the first thing, like you said, you did when you were even was talking about going to the restaurant business was go get you a book about how to start a restaurant.
What they were talking about.
Right, exactly. Without that, you'd have been lost, and then the opportunity would have moved on without you. And that's, again, key. You don't need a college degree. You need to prioritize education and educating yourself. And I have 2 college degrees, and I can tell you, I could probably, the working knowledge that has helped me in my career to go from living in a boxcar as a kid to the $2 million house I live in now, probably could be done in 30 books. 30 books. That's it. So instead of going to college for 5 years and getting 2 degrees, I probably could have read 30 books and been better off, right? So never think for 1 second that if you didn't go to college, or if you're in college and you're maybe not doing all that well with it, or you got some BS degree, your liberal arts degree can still get you somewhere if you're willing to go and get the information and educate yourself on particulars of opportunities that are coming up versus just general knowledge. Right. The idea that you can educate yourself is, I think, the biggest thing that college gave me was the idea or the knowledge that, and the confidence, hey, I could educate myself. I can go to the library, I can read a book, and I can actually learn what's in that book, and then I can go to the real world and I can apply that. Yeah. Well, the same thing obviously can be done without college. So that's an amazing story. Again, we go on all day with you. Fantastic guest. Really appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have him back and talk more about some particulars of where the business is going in the future. If you guys got a lot of good info out of this, and I know you did, please, again, like, subscribe, share wherever you find this video, wherever you hear this podcast. The more people that we can get Matt's story in front of, right, is the more people that can get on the fast track to success and, again, get living the American dream. So, again, really appreciate it. Mucho, thanks for being on the show again. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.